Friends around the world, a good Sunday. Happy Spiritual Sunday. Woo. A few shout-outs. More people. Marija from Las Vegas. Maria Guadalupe from Chicago. A lot of Marias. Maria Christina from Norway. Ooh, think how far she has to travel to get here. Marianne from New York City. Massimo from London. And Nora from Puerto Rico. Yay! Of course, there's a number more, but we'd be spending our whole hour doing this. Okay, you ready to get started? Yeah. So, I want you to picture with me. Have you ever been lost? Yeah. Driving somewhere, get lost. So, I'm in college, and I have to take a general ed class called sociology. So, I went to UCLA, if any of you are familiar with Los Angeles. So, UCLA was already too far north for me. I grew up by the beach, 4 blocks from the beach. It was heaven on earth for me. And even to go to UCLA, although it was a great place, because back in the 70s, it was sort of the premier center of all the movies and the first-run movies and this, that. They had Westwood Village, so that was great. Now the professor says, I want you to drive through downtown LA, which I never liked to go. And he says, I want you to drive around, and then you're going to write a paper on your impressions, what you see, what goes on, this and this. Okay, so I'm already driving, and I'm already thinking to myself, okay, I'll give it a shot. I'm not so happy about it. So I drive around. I see what I see. Now I'm ready to go back home, right? Start at UCLA. I drive to downtown LA, and now I'm driving back. And I hit this one on-ramp, and I see the sign says, turn this way, right, to get to the Santa Monica Freeway. And I turn, and I follow the street, and I go in a circle, and all of a sudden, I'm back in the same spot. I'm driving back up the hill. I see the sign says, turn here to get to the Santa Monica Freeway. And I do it again. And I end up back in LA. And I do it again. About the 4th, 5th time, number one, I'm thinking I'm in the Twilight Zone. Right? It's the same thing again. Groundhog Day hadn't come out yet, so I'm still in the Twilight Zone. Right? You with me? You drive around. No, you get lost. You drive, I think it's over here. I think it's over here. You get more and more frustrated, right? Doesn't feel good to be lost, does it? No. Think of that time. So here I am, I'm getting stressed out because I'm telling you, I know that my dorm in the UCLA exists over there. It didn't disappear suddenly. It's there, and I can't get there. And I'm getting scared. I'm going to be stuck forever, the rest of my life in downtown LA, making this loop like this again and again. And the more stressed out I am, number one, the more angry I'm getting. But also I keep repeating the same thing again and again and again. And I keep looking at that sign to change. I'm looking at the roads to change. Right? Like you and me. Lost at work. Lost at home. Same thing. It doesn't have to be out on the road. But when we feel lost, it's not a great feeling. So what did I do? This is what kind of set me up, ultimately, I guess, to come here to the Kabbalah Center. I stopped. And I look up in the heavens and I just say, God, please help me out of this hell. Get me out of here. And I calm down. I take a breath. I go up the hill now. I look at the same sign that I saw all these times. And now what? I think God painted a new arrow. Because all of a sudden I see a second arrow that instead of turning like slightly, let's say 45 degrees, it's almost like a 90 degree, like this. Like there's 2 streets going this way. So I turn this one. Suddenly I get to the Santa Monica Freeway. I'm all the way back and I'm back at home. Relief. You relate? Yes. Now, go to think when you're lost. What do they give us now? Back then, we only had maps. Right? And map, you had to learn to read it. You had to understand it. You had to figure which way to go. Now they've got these little pieces of equipment called a GPS. So now what would we do? We'd be in the middle of our lost situation, home, on the streets or whatever. You stop, you plug in your GPS, the destination where you want to go. And now what does the GPS start to tell you? What is it? Calculating, right? First it tells you calculating. And what happens? I'm still in downtown LA. We're still in the same spot where we were. We're still under the same circumstances. 2 seconds ago, we were stressed out. We were bothered. We were angry. We're screaming. We're yelling, etc. Not acting very Kabbalistic. And then the GPS says calculating, and now it says proceed, forward, etc. You haven't moved 1 inch from where you were lost. But what now happens? What happens to your attitude? What happens to your feelings? All of a sudden you feel better. Why? You didn't move. You're in the same lost place you were. The people still treating you the same. The business is still the same. The relationship in that moment still the same. All the circumstances still the same. What's the only difference now? You have a bigger picture. You know that there's a way to get to your destination. And you know that there's a guide called that GPS that will take you there. All you have to do is follow along. So 5 minutes before that, were all the streets laid out? Or is the GPS making new streets? They're ahead of you, paving the road, right? Digging with their tractors, etc. No, the streets were always there. You and I didn't see it. We couldn't find our way because we didn't stop to use the GPS. And what's a GPS? It's a big satellite somewhere up in space, so it can see the whole picture. It sees all the streets and can tell us how to go to get where we want to go. That's it. It's so simple today. So now, if we have GPS today, what must we have had for thousands and literally billions of years? A spiritual GPS. What is Kabbalah teaching us? Think, I know many of you, most of you have already taken at least Kabbalah 1. Kabbalah 1 is telling us we all start the same way. The Kabbalists teach us we all started in what's called the endless world, and we're going to end up in the endless world. So the same like my journey. I started at should I tell you the name? Okay, why not? Maybe somebody's watching who's at UCLA. I lived in Dykstra Dormitory. So I started from Dykstra at UCLA. I drove all the way out there. And where did I end up after all of this tumult and then changing, etc.? Back at Dykstra. But now, was I the same person? No, that's all the Kabbalah is telling us about this world. We all, every one of the 7.5 billion people on the planet, we all start in the endless world as pure and perfect beings of light. We are going to end up back in the endless world, pure and perfect beings of light. So why did we leave? It's a good question. Kabbalah 1 starting this Tuesday. Life is only about the journey. UCLA was there. Journey took me out to experience what I needed to experience, see what I needed to see, learn what I needed to learn, and then take me back a better person. So yes, in the endless world, we are pure and perfect beings. But it was only potential. From our point of view, it was only potential. It wasn't made manifest. So the whole journey of life is only about manifesting our purity and our perfection. That's all it's about. But the beginning and the end is guaranteed. So then why is this life so difficult? Because people don't use their GPS. Kabbalah is the universal GPS for every human being. Now, does that mean we're all going to just follow like in a big caravan, doing the same things at the same time, all of us around the world? No or no? I say it's different. No! Just like the streets. There are thousands and thousands of streets out there, and we can all take our own unique route to go from point A to point B, or in my case, from UCLA out to LA and back again. There's hundreds of ways I could have gone. The streets are already laid out. So who chooses which route to take? We do. That's our uniqueness. We are each created unique. We each have our own route that we'll go, we want to go, or we're kind of forced to go, whichever way. But the streets are already laid out, so we don't have to be the same. The Kabbalists never taught us we have to be the same, we have to be like clones and robots of each other. No, look around the room. How many of us look alike? But we're all wonderful people, right? Say yes. Yeah, okay, good. Here, let's listen to them on Facebook. All of you, are you good people? Yes. Okay, they can hear us too. Exactly. So then we all choose our own unique way. Even, have you ever been in the car with somebody who's driving to the same, whatever, you go to a movie together, you're in the same car? Yes? You ever been? Do you see the same things on the street as the driver? No, but you're in the same car, traveling the same route. It's still our own consciousness, our own perception allows us to see and experience different things. So it's not even about if we're on the same road. Like here, are we all here in the same room at the same time? Are they watching all around the world the same thing at the same time? Yes or yes? The new people saying, this guy doesn't give us any free will. What's going on here? Right? But we're all hearing something different. We're all gaining something unique. Because each of us have our own consciousness. And we'll receive it according to our own perspective. But remember, the beginning and the end the same. We're in the journey together. So the Kabbalists are just giving us the ways and means to understand. Here's the GPS, just like my GPS. They're ones, you know me in technology. We're friends, but technology is a lot smarter friend than I am. But I know there's ways to program your GPS. Let's say we're going from here to Miami. There's a way to program it. If I want to take the turnpike, I can put in the turnpike, and it will direct me that way. If you want to go the 95, you can put that in. It'll direct you through the 95. So we don't only have to listen from here to there the same route. Because on one hand, if we all programmed the same, it should take us the same route, right? But if I choose to go the turnpike and you choose to go the 95, it'll both take us in our chosen route, but where will we all end up? Miami. So we'll still meet together there. So the same with life. We started united in the endless world as one. One united humanity. We will end up here on earth first, united humanity, and then we go back to the endless world. Having experienced what it's like to be creator-like. That's all Kabbalah is teaching us. That's it. So then why do we get lost? Well, we have thousands of years of history of that. Go back to the story of the Exodus from Egypt. Here you and I, we're hanging out in Egypt. You can say we're slaves, whatever that means, right? We're kind of stuck in a go-nowhere situation. Been there? Yes. Good. That's past tense, right? Okay, we're no longer there. So what do? We're in Egypt. Moses comes along to take us out. And now where are we going? To what's called the Promised Land. You know how long it would take us? If you and I started in Egypt and we were just to walk to the land of Israel, you know how long it would take us? No, 2-3 weeks. 2-3 weeks. No, walking. 2-3 weeks. We could walk it in 2-3 weeks. How long did it take those Israelites? You and me. 40 years. How come a 3-week journey took 40 years? Oh, this is what we're going to get to. The GPS. Have you ever... What's that? Slow camels. Okay. If I can walk it in 3 weeks, a camel could certainly do it in less than 40 years. Right? But this is how we'll start to think. Maybe this. It was so many people. No. It's very simple. It's very simple. The Zohar says, people are led in the direction they want to go. The universe will back up whatever our desire is. So in the desert, read the stories. How many times do we read the stories? People selfish, ego, self-centered, doubts, fears, etc. Moses, you want to kill us by drowning us in the Red Sea. You're taking to starve us. We have no food. You want to kill us through thirst. Always complaining. Sharing or selfish? Selfish. So what happened? The universe obliged them. They went way off the path. Took them 40 years to get back there. But then there are those moments when you read, when they have faith in the Creator and they trust and they're working together, now they're on a more efficient path. That's it. The way we want to go is the way the universe will lead us. Because consciousness is everything. And our eyes will see and be projecting what's in our consciousness. So if a person is projecting fear, doubt, ego, selfishness, etc., then our eyes will show. Those people will see all the ways and means to be selfish and self-centered and go off the path of the light. Simple. So just like anything, if we're driving down to Miami, I don't care which general route we take here, what could it take us? No traffic. 30 minutes, an hour, let's say, at most. But if somebody decides, no, I don't want to do what everybody else is doing, I want to go by way of Atlanta to get to Miami. Could they do it? How long would it take? 40 years. Yeah, 40 years. Exactly. Right? Again, consciousness is everything. If they chose to be self-centered and egotistical, then their eyes will show them, run after that thing, run after this thing, run after that thing. How many of you ever bought something you thought was going to make you so happy, and for about 5 seconds you were happy, and then after that you're miserable with it? It didn't make you happy anymore. Anybody? Exactly. So what does it mean? Off the path. Had we not bought it or not gone that route, we could have done things much more efficient. Right? Think about how much time we waste going after our selfish desires. Part of it is, we don't even realize it's a selfish desire. We think it's just what we need to do. What we need to do to survive our life, to deal with our life, etc., etc. And we justify and rationalize. But then when we stand back, especially you and I, people who are here together, we're already awakened spiritually. So even when we behave in a self-centered way, about 10 minutes later, and I've talked to any number of students, some of you also, and hundreds and thousands over the years I'm teaching, start to feel bad. 10 minutes, the next day, start to feel bad. Why did I do that? I know I shouldn't have said that. I shouldn't have behaved that way, etc. So what did we do? We went off the path, 2 miles, and now what do we have to do? To get back on the path, we got to come back 2 miles. So it takes that much longer. So you and I have the blessing to be here learning Kabbalah so we can be on the efficient path. So yes, you can still choose 95 or the turnpike, but basically we're all going to get there at pretty much the same time. We're not going by way of Atlanta or I don't know, the Keys or Orlando or whatever you want to say. We're going the more effective path because we're following along in that similar consciousness. Love your neighbors yourself. Kindness and compassion. Love, kindness, and compassion. Sharing, forgiveness, tolerance, etc. We have to ask ourselves right now, what path are we on? What direction are we choosing? And you know what? How long does it take you to change your choice? Like this. Just ask the spouses. Right? How long does it take to change our mind? Like this. What, didn't you just tell me this? Yeah, but I changed my mind. Isn't it flat? That's it. So what does the GPS do? It's the same idea. Course correction. Course correction. Isn't that it? You make the wrong turn. I had many experiences with that. It tells me to go to the left. I say, no, but everyone's going here to the right. So I go to the right, and then what does it say? Recalculating. Now it's going to tell me another way to get where I was supposed to go in the first place. So spiritually, there's also course correction. Think simple. If you took something from somebody spiritually by being angry or jealous or fearful or greedy or egotistical, right, and you made a mistake, what do? What do you do to correct that? You make up. Right? You somehow you repair your mistake. So Kabbalistically, and fortunately, that thing called the opponent, that has to be here, that adversary, to make us actually enjoy the path, or to enjoy the rewards that come from it, he puts in our mind, right? What does he put in our mind? Doubt. What else does he put in our mind? Fear. Challenges. Ego, selfish, right? Even forgetting that we are pure and perfect beings of light. We're already forgetting it. So if we forget we are, can we apply it? No. But when we make the mistake, then there's a way to repair it because there is a universal blueprint. What will this opponent do with this? He's corrupted the idea. Repair is very simple, yes? If I just called it repair, would you understand it? Right? Repair your mistake. You acted with anger. How do you repair it? Go act with tolerance, kindness. Ask for forgiveness. Right? Simple thing. But unfortunately, the tradition has called it repentance. So for most people, what did this opponent do with repentance? You have to look at God and say, God, I'm so sorry what I did to Johnny. Now, God will forgive me. But what about Johnny? Oh, God will tell Johnny that I'm forgiven. Think about it. This is how the opponent put in our head. This whole idea. No, Kabbalistically, repentance means repair. Repair the mistakes we made. That's all. But you have to go back to the person, or you have to give back to the person what it is you took from them. And you know what the Zohar says about repentance? A couple of really amazing things. It says, one, before the physical world was created, repentance was put into place. So that two, no matter what we do in this world, it says nothing can stop repentance. If you repair, from your point of view, any mistake you've made with anybody at any time, then the universe will bring you back blessings, put you on that more efficient path. Now, you're already saying, but what about if the other person doesn't forgive me? That's their issue, not mine. If I truly make a heartfelt apology, or I make an effort to repair, truly with the light of the Creator inside me, then my path is fixed. Right? Two people driving in two separate cars, and they're going down there, and I say, I made a mistake. Now we plug in the GPS, both of us. Right? So I've made this person get lost. Not get lost that way. Get lost with me. Okay. What's the matter? My jokes aren't going, I guess. Right? I'm not telling them to get lost. We got lost. All right? Now we plug in our GPS. Now what happens? Now we're going to follow the path to get back. But if that person chooses to go a different route, if the GPS says turn left and they turn right and I turn left, I'm getting towards my destination and they're not. Is it my problem? No, it's theirs. So if we really make the effort to repair our mistakes with other people, then it doesn't matter if they forgive us or not. We are cleared cosmically because it was a real effort, not fake, a real effort on our part. So there's nothing that will stop that idea of repair. Nothing. Because it's all consciousness. It's one-on-one with the Creator. So again, we have to ask ourselves, what are we doing to repair our mistakes? Because challenges are always going to happen. But even when a challenge happens, who determines? Like we got lost. So we got lost, we went off the path. Now I could sit there I could still be sitting in downtown LA. If I kept wanting to blame and be angry and be upset. It's now 44 years. Just about. No. Yeah, about 40. Oh my God. It's about 40 years ago. Right? I could be sitting in LA, still screaming, still in my Volkswagen van, in the middle of downtown, screaming at the universe. Why are you doing this to me? Right? If so, I chose. So challenges are going to happen. But who decides what's going to come from the challenge? You and I. You and I. I have a student not long ago, because it was winter, got stuck in Chicago because they got snowed in. Good or bad? Depends. If you like Chicago, maybe not so bad. If you like the snow, not so bad. But if you're rushing to get home, bad. Right? So it can be either way. So what happened? Of course, at first she feels that it's kind of not a good situation, wants to get home. So what happened? So the next day, right, she's supposed to leave Saturday night, snowed in, nothing's going. Sunday morning, 5 o'clock at the airport, looking for a flight to get in. So now watch what happens. Standing at one desk, and they're saying, telling the person in Chicago, yes, they've got to get down to Fort Lauderdale. Okay, she looks Fort Lauderdale, nothing going, nothing flying, nothing flying, nothing flying. She says, and I guess the woman at the counter sees, she says, how about Miami Airport? Can you go to Miami Airport? Yeah, sure, why not? Is there a flight? Oh, no, there's nothing there either. Right? No Fort Lauderdale, no Miami. Sitting there, and she's telling me the same story, like me lost in L.A., starting to get frustrated, starting to wonder, she's going to have to spend all day Sunday there and not get home till Monday. What's going to happen with the family and the kids and everything else? And then all of a sudden, as the universe sets up, she stops. She thinks, no. She starts sending light. She starts thinking proactively, as we call it, sending light and saying, no, there's got to be an answer, like turning on her spiritual GPS. All of a sudden, what happens? A guy from nowhere comes over the counter, and she's standing like near the counter so she can hear it. The guy says, yes, I have a ticket to go to West Palm Beach Airport. Oh, here's your ticket, sir. So she's looking at the guy. She says, West Palm Beach? I can go to West Palm Beach. So she goes, because the woman at the counter didn't know West Palm Beach is like within the same area. She just sees the airport names. So she goes up and she says, yes, I can go to West Palm Beach. Can I get on the flight also? So she calls, she checks, she says, there's only first class. She says, let me call the supervisor. So she calls the supervisor, and guess what? First class flight from Chicago to West Palm Beach. Not bad, huh? So she turned the bad to good and even got the little added reward. This is what she took, her first class trip. Why? Because she was willing to let go. She was willing to repair her own stress, her own mistake, her own anger, her own resentment. She was willing to make a bad situation good. The universe will take us in the direction we choose. So had she chosen also to just be angry and upset, etc., she probably would have walked away, maybe wait another day, and then get back to Florida. But because she was willing to stop and start sending light and repairing her mistakes, the universe set her up to here. West Palm Beach Airport, yeah, they're flying there. Now, what's the difference? I don't know, right? Whether you go to West Palm or you go to Fort Lauderdale, but I guess for some of those airlines, it made a difference. So she got home. So it's up to us to turn it around. We're the ones who are deciding. So think right now. What situation in your life are you facing right now that you're kind of stuck in, that you feel lost about? And think about what you can do to repair whatever mistake you may have done. Maybe it's just simple anger. It doesn't have to be at anybody, right? Anger at somebody is one thing. Anger just because you're angry at the situation, it's the same thing from your point of view. It's a blockage. So repair it. If you throw anger at the whole situation, now throw love and compassion and forgiveness to the whole situation. If it's about a person, then send that person. And if you can speak to them, speak to them. And overcome, change the situation. And again, it's not whether they accept it or not. It's whether you're doing it with your heart and your soul. Whether you're really open to share with them. Because the endless world, did it disappear? No. The endless world is still here. The infinite light of the Creator is infinite light. So it's always available, like the GPS. If I shut off my GPS, does the satellite in the sky stop working? Like everybody's GPS stops working? No, just mine. If I turn mine on, I'm reconnected. So the light of the Creator that's always shining and always guiding us, it's always there. It's always waiting for us to turn it on and connect to it. There's a very powerful story, the way you want to go. You remember the story of Abraham the patriarch? Abraham the patriarch, born into idol worshippers. Just means negative people. Let's leave it at that. Born in a negative family, negative influence, etc. One day he wakes up like you and I, and he says, wait a second, I don't believe in idol worship. I believe there is one Creator out there. There's one unifying energy force. And that's what I want to follow. So he hears the voice, says, go out. So he leaves his home, he leaves his family, leaves all the negativity. For you and me, I want you to think, what does that mean to you in your situation? It doesn't necessarily mean you have to leave physically that situation. But it means you have to leave spiritually. You have to start seeking out the light of the Creator. Because if we don't see it, it's not because there's no light, it's because we're not opening our eyes. So Abraham starts on his journey, he finds a wife, he gets married, now he has no kids. Then he finally has a kid. I'm kind of cutting it short because it comes now to the ultimate test. And again, related to your life. Abraham's ultimate test, he has a son Isaac, his beloved. And what does God tell him according to the Bible story? Take your son Isaac, go up the mountain and sacrifice him. So thank goodness you and I don't have to reach that point. But in our way, there's something that we feel that's beloved to us, that in essence we're hearing, give it up, give it up, give it up. What was the real thing? God, in essence, the voice of the Creator was telling Abraham, you've got to repair all your past. You've got to make up. So in essence, if you're so connected, in essence, in our level, in a selfish way to this son, then you've got to be willing to give him up. So it says he starts on the journey. He's starting on the path. Like you and I will say, okay, I'm willing to do that. If I need to let go of this, that, or the other thing, I'm willing to do it. But then as he's on the journey, it says, if you read the Bible, and this is the thing that most of us don't do until we come to Kabbalah. We have to go back to the original language. It says, as he's on his journey with his son Isaac to sacrifice him, it says he raises his eyes. He lifts his eyes to see the mountain that God was directing him to. Lift his eyes means what for us? Does it mean just like this? Looking up? No. He raised his consciousness. He elevated his sight, his spiritual sight, from the 1% physical world of all the negativity to the light of the Creator that exists everywhere. Then he saw the mountain. He was directed to the mountain. Then the rest of the story says, yes, now he takes his son and they do their thing. They carry the wood, they carry the fire, they take the knife and they go up the mountain. And then again, when he's willing to pay back whatever it is he did, when you're willing to forgive or apologize to that nasty person, when you're willing to let go of the ego a little bit and act with humility and ask for help, when you're willing to give a little more than you wanted to give or you didn't even think to give and now you are willing to be generous, whichever that is, then it says what? He tied up Isaac, and then the angel came and said, stop. You've achieved it. Once you're willing and you make the effort to share, to apologize, to forgive, to be tolerant, to be generous, to be kind, to have more certainty and trust in the light of the Creator. Then it says again, and he lifted his eyes, he raised his consciousness again, and he saw the ram, that which was really meant to be sacrificed. In the end, he sacrificed. What is that for you and me? Boils down to one thing, whatever form it may take for you, the ego, the selfishness. I have to be willing ultimately to give up, to sacrifice my selfishness. What I want from people, what I want from things, because like we said, sometimes you can get what you want and it's not what you really need. See, we have an agreement. Exactly. So this is it. This is what Abraham's teaching us. Raise our vision. Don't just... Yeah, see, look. Right? Raise your vision, raise your consciousness, focus on the light. But again, it means we have to be open. If you don't open your heart and you don't open your soul, then the Creator cannot guide you. Right? If I don't turn on my GPS, even though it's the best, top of the market, brand new, can it guide me anywhere? Even though it's connected only one-on-one, I put in my own personal satellite in the sky, that my GPS is connected to it. The greatest modern technology, but I don't turn on my GPS. Is it going to work for me? No. So all that the Creator has given us, all that the Creator has around us available for us, if we don't tap into it, we get nothing from it and we go on the same path like the rest of the world. No, our job is to lead the rest of the world this way. Let them see how bright and shiny we are. Let them feel our light because they're all drawn towards it. That's what we want to do. But we have to be willing to change our consciousness. We have to be willing to go back and repair whatever mistakes we made. We have to be willing also to let go and be connected to whatever the light of the Creator tells us to do. And 9 times out of 10, it's going to be the opposite of what we think we should do. Especially in a challenge. Because when we're challenged, what's the first thing we want? Give me my peanut butter and jelly sandwich back. Give me. No, our job is to realize I have so much, let me share. Let me share kindness, love, compassion, generosity, tolerance, forgiveness, certainty, and trust. Let me share it. I have more than enough. The Creator is waiting. The universe is waiting to give me more. But I have to open up the fountain. You know what the Zohar says? We talk about Abraham raising his eyes. We talk about open heart. Most of us get it. But you know what the Zohar says about a heart? We have eyes in our heart. We have eyes in our heart. Think about it. Does your heart ever direct you anywhere? Has it ever directed you anywhere? Has it ever directed you or think it directs you somewhere not so good? Like to that bad relationship? Oh, you were so in love with that person. It was great and it was wonderful and they were warm and they're friendly. The heart eyes were closed because you didn't see they were really mean, rotten, and nasty. But you found out the hard way. Yes. Happened to us? Yes or yes? Yes. Exactly. Because our heart also has eyes. Eyes just means our spiritual receptors, our vision of the Creator, our vision of ourself. It's really that simple. It's not that difficult. We just have to open up and remember, who are we? Who are we? Pure and perfect beings of light. We are pure and perfect beings of light. That's it. So the more we'll open up and we'll follow the GPS, it'll take us where we need to go. I have a student who was telling me she's been on almost every Zohar project. Those of you who've been around, we have the main ones, like the groups of Florida just did sort of a mini one down to the Keys last week. They went down and they handed out Zohar to the Keys. A few months ago, we had the one in St. Louis that I know we talked about a little bit, and we have another one coming up over the summer in Jamaica. We're out to spread the Zohar all over the world. So this particular student had been on almost every one of these outings. Miracles, amazing things, etc. But like Abraham, he raised his vision, he got to the mountain, then came the next level. Until we're 100%, there's always another level. So now she's debating. Here comes St. Louis and she's debating. Should she go, shouldn't she go? Should she go, shouldn't she go? Right? I don't know why she didn't want to go, because she's only seen miracles, but it's her opponent in her head. I have my opponent. You have yours. They will talk to us in in its own unique way. So she has this fight within herself. Go, not go, not go. So she stopped. Says, okay, remember, the direction you want to go is the direction that will show up. The universe can show us thousands of opportunities to be selfish, thousands of opportunities to be sharing. Depends on us. So she says, okay, She's sending out light. She says, just give me a sign. And she had such certainty. She's in a restaurant. Some guy comes over right next to the table, starts complaining, whatever was going on. This is how she tells me. She says immediately, once she said, give me a sign, this guy comes over and starts complaining about something or another. And she walked over and said, sir, can I give you a Zohar? Give you peace and love. It's a gift from the Kabbalah Center. This book that radiates the light of the Creator will give you peace and blessings. She says, all of a sudden he calmed down. He looked at her with a big smile and said, thank you. And then walked away with a big smile. She says that was her sign to go. Because the universe showed her she had such a desire to see a sign immediately, she got it. An opportunity to hand out a Zohar. She went to St. Louis, and she had nothing but more miracles. Amazing things happen. We just have to be open. We have to be willing to be guided. And you never know. How many of you grew up in the Kabbalah Center? Okay, one. Grew up. None of us. Not myself. But you never know. If you look back on your life, life takes us in the direction. So if it's okay with you, I just want to kind of briefly tell you my path so you can relate yours. I grew up California. I told you 4 blocks from the beach. That was it. I grew up for whatever reason deciding that I wanted to end pain and suffering. I didn't like to see people sick. I had some friends in school who got sick, etc. You know the story I think I told last week. My grandmother, she dies when I'm 12. I'm saying, that's it. I got to remove pain and suffering. I'm going to be a doctor. Because I figured that being a doctor is the way to remove pain and suffering, right? So I'm on my way to be a doctor. I go through high school, like this, like a laser beam. Right through high school, I finish high school in 3 years. I take all the extra courses, etc., because I'm determined. I get into college. I'm in college. I'm still going to be a doctor. I'm focused on that. I'm trying not to be too distracted, etc. Because why? What was my real destination? Remove pain and suffering. I just understood at that moment doctor was the way to do it. So I had my grandmother passed. My other grandparents passed. They're pushing me now, right? I'm going to be a doctor. I don't want anyone else to die. I want to see everybody else live. So then I get to college, and as many of you have heard the story, my mother dies in 1977, cancer. Doctors have no way to heal her. They had no hope. They couldn't even tell me when she was going to die. One day they'd say she got a week. Then the next day she'd say she got to die today. And she just held out till she was ready to go, and she went. So then I said, that's it. Doctor's not going to do it for me. So now what do I do? So now, and think in your life, how do you have visions that you have not touched yet? How do you have potential that you have not touched yet? When I was a kid, so this is already, I'm in my 20s, right? I remember back when I'm 6, 7 years old, and I have these little flashes of other worlds. I have these flashes. I don't know what they mean. I figure they're just dreams and visions. I have dreams I'm flying. So of course, you have a dream you ever flew? You have dreams of flying. Amazing. We could do that physically. All we have to do is believe like we believe in a dream. A dream, we let go of our rational conscious mind. If we could do that in a waking state, we could also levitate. There are plenty of stories of people doing it, but we look at it as the exception and not the rule. Well, from that point of view, every one of us are the exception. You've had a taste of it, you go. So here all of a sudden I have this reawakening. You know what? There's another universe out there. It's not just what I see with my 5 senses. So a friend of my father's, again, coincidence doesn't mean random. But a friend of my father's hears the story. She says, I want you to go over here and learn science of mind. I've been learning science of mind. It's amazing stuff. So I pick myself up and one morning I go to science of mind. And I hear the guy talk and I say, wow, this is great stuff. Positive thinking, mind over matter, some things like that. So I start to go. I start to learn. I start to attend. Then I decide, you know what? I get a voice in my head. You're going to teach. I'm arguing now with the Creator. No way. Me teach? No, I don't know what I'm going to do, but this science of mind stuff is great. Spirituality is great. But me, a teacher, stand up in people and talk? Thank you. Okay. No way. No way. You have no idea how much fear I had about that. So I'm arguing, and the voice keeps saying, you're going to teach. No. Going to teach. No. Going to teach. No. This went on for a week. Till I finally realized, I can't escape this voice in my head. Because everywhere I go, guess where my head goes? It goes with me. So I'm still hearing the voice. So I finally say, okay, I'll teach. So things again, the path led me to start teaching. So I start teaching science of mind. I'm teaching. I'm looking for a place to teach, like to have whatever, a center that I could teach at. but still not right. Something's still reminding me, you know what? This is not your final destination. There's more out there. There's more out there. So again, coincidentally, a guy comes to give a special seminar where I was learning science of mind, and he starts talking about mysticism. He starts talking things, reincarnation, and so now I'm drawn to it. I say, wow. So then he says, I find out he's teaching. He's about an hour away from where I was living. He said he's teaching a class on something called the Keys of Enoch. So I figured, wow, I'm going to go learn the Keys of Enoch. Mysticism, for whatever reason, is drawing me there. You follow? I'm just following. If you ask me logically, would I ever have done this? Never in a million years. But you're led in the direction you want to go, even if it looks like out of the way. Like we said, sometimes bad things happen. I had a guy once, 20 years ago when I was teaching in LA, he tells me he's a stockbroker. The worst mistake he had ever made in his career, he wrote down the wrong order back in those days. Pre-technology, right? He writes down the wrong order. He got sent in. He's sure that's the end of his career, blah, 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 whatever. Just guess what? Turned out to be the smartest buy he ever made. The greatest thing. You never know. What looks bad can turn good. What looks good can turn bad. So here I am. I'm going. I learned the keys. And in the Keys of Enoch, what do they say? Kabbalah. I hear the magic word. Kabbalah. The blueprint of the universe. The Hebrew letters, the DNA of the universe. Every soul made up of Hebrew letters. Meditate on Hebrew fire letters, as we're going to do, as we do every Sunday. But I couldn't understand anything else in this book. But Kabbalah stuck in my mind. So, a few months later, I'm at a family gathering out in San Fernando Valley, and my crazy cousin, now look at his path. I have this crazy cousin who was always into different things. 6 months here, 3 months here, 4 months there, like this. You know, you have people like that? Maybe it's you. Right? You run around all these different things. So here's this crazy cousin David. We're at a family gathering. I'm still looking for where am I going to teach science of mind. And he tells me, you know, I'm learning Kabbalah. You? Learning Kabbalah? He says, yeah. He says, they're just starting a place. He's telling me this. He says, and then he says like this, I think there's an introductory lecture tonight. Really? Where is this place? So again, look how the universe set. Let me ask you, look back on your life. What did it take for you to end up here in the Kabbalah Center? We didn't grow up in it. We grew up in our own ways. We did our own things. We went through our business. Some of us had families, whatever it is. But all the choices we made along the way that had no concept 10 years ago, 5 years ago, 1 year ago for some of you, that you would end up here. I didn't know I was going to end up here. No way. Crazy David tells me about an intro. Happens to be exactly on my way home. I go coincidentally because way back when I was a kid, what was my intent? I wanted to remove pain and suffering. It wasn't just about being a doctor. That's all I thought was the way to do it at that time. Then I looked at science of mind. Wow, this is great. So I'll do that. Then I'm led into Kabbalah. So I go to the intro. Guess who gave the introductory class? Karen Berg. Karen Berg. The center just opened as their first office. The entire LA office in 1987 wasn't even as big as this room. It was our first office, though, in LA. The third center in the world at that time. And I had the great merit to be introduced by Karen Berg. And she just blew me away. I was like, wow, this is. Because I couldn't understand any other form. The way she made it so simple, down to earth, practical. I said, this is for me. And then just quickly, because it's kind of cute, she says, and this was Sunday. She says, on Tuesday, Wednesday, the Rav is coming to give a 2-night seminar. Well, I grew up a Reform Jew, so I knew what the Hebrew letters were, but I didn't understand anything. So when she says the Rav, I have no idea what that is. I didn't know even if it was a person or not. But I'm figuring if she was already like this for me, and she's introducing this other thing called the Rav, it's got to be like that next level up. So I came on Tuesday and Wednesday. I took the seminar from Rav Berg, and it was like reincarnation, power of the Hebrew letters, numerology, astrology, all the things that I knew could be technology of the soul, but it was always such woo-woo, mystical, like you couldn't understand any of it, and it came down to earth. So I said, where do I sign up? I took Kabbalah 1, I took most of Kabbalah 2, picked up, and I moved to New York to become a teacher. And that was 1988, and I've been here ever since. So you never know. Think of your pathway. What brought you here? What brought you there? The choice you made over there, the event that happened over there, the good thing, the bad thing. It all tunes us. Just like when you follow your GPS. I don't know, when I was in Atlanta at one of the first international Zohar projects, I put a GPS in the car because I had no idea of Atlanta. And you know me. So I plug it in and it's telling me, go this way, go this way. And there were times I had to struggle to follow it. Because it sure didn't seem, the signs seemed to say, go this way. And the GPS telling you this way. I had to trust the GPS. So I went with it. And sure, it went around like this and this and this and all the way back. But I ended up in the right spot. Probably faster, obviously, than going the other way. So you never know. The only thing we have to do is set our destination. What direction do you want to go in? Do you want to go in the direction of the light? Then yes. So how do you go? You have to do the acts of kindness, love, sharing, compassion. That's how you get guided by the GPS of the light of the Creator. But we've got it. Anyone here ever drive at night? What's the matter? The rest of you don't? I'll make sure we don't do a spiritual Sunday at night then. Okay. Right? We drive at night. How do you see the road? You turn on your headlights, right? So it shines light ahead of you so you can see the road and make sure you don't hit anything, you don't go off the road, etc., etc. So we have the light of the Creator in our soul. All we have to do is shine it forward. And the path that's already set up for us, the most effective and efficient path from where we are now to 100% bliss, eternal bliss, it's already waiting. But we have to shine our light forward. We have to send our light forward. We have to be willing to overcome whatever our illusion is. We have to be willing, like Abraham, to sacrifice our ego, our fears, our anger, our jealousy, our greed, etc. We have to be willing to go out, like I had to be able to stand up here. I mean, now, I don't know how this is going to sound, but now it's pretty easy for me. In fact, I thrive on it. To see your faces, to know people are out here, right? It's great. It empowers me. But you go back 40 years when I was first starting, and I hear that voice, you're going to stand up in front of people and talk? No way. It was frightening. But you have to overcome that part. If you get the message, you get the inspiration, you have to listen to it. So you're sitting here right now with something going through your mind. Something that's positive and it's sharing. Not just, oh yeah, I have to go buy that new car. Or I have to go take that new thing. No, it's not about taking. It's about sharing, but we've got to open our eyes and see ahead of us. We've got to shine our light forward. This thing over here in the Hebrew, above the ark here, something that's there so we'll always remember. Some of you, we've said it before, but we can never be reminded enough. I'm here every day, I always look at it, because I have to be reminded. Like consciousness is everything. Until I'm 100%, I can raise it. It simply says, I envision the light of the Creator in front of me always. That's it. If the light of the Creator is in front of me always, then I'm running towards it. I'm always going for it. That's all. We have to open our eyes. To see, we have to open our eyes spiritually. Have to open the eyes of our heart. To be open, to be guided by the light of the Creator. It's that simple. Shiviti Hashem negdi tamid. I see the light of the Creator always in front of me. So today's the day. We can create. We are pure and perfect beings of light. The pure, perfect path is already set. The Creator has set out for each and every one of us the right route to go from where we are to absolute bliss and perfection and total unity with humanity. That's why we're here in the Kabbalah Center. We could just do this over the internet. You could all be sitting at home, in the comfort of your home doing it. But there's power in gathering. That's why the Rav and Karen set up the Kabbalah Centers. We can gather a community of people. Come unity with unity. The more unified we are, the bigger the unity is. Billions of people uniting together. How fast can we change? Blink of an eye. Blink of an eye is all it takes. So your perfection, my perfection, it's waiting for us. All we have to do is open our eyes, open our heart to listen to the voice of the Creator that's guiding us every day. And the power that moves us forward are the actions of love, kindness, and compassion towards all humanity. God bless. Okay. Thank you for being here. Thank you. So, let me just share with you a couple quick stories. For those of you who are new, this is the time we bless our offering. It is a free will offering. We are a charitable organization. We are supported by your donations and the people who are watching us and in the centers around the world. This, if you don't have one, Get one. If you already have one of these, you've been around for a while, so get the next step, get Zohar. But this is one book of the Zohar. It's something that we've made pocket size so you can keep with you, right? You keep around. It radiates the light of God. It's just that simple. It radiates the light of God. There is one sacrifice. We talked about sacrifice. We have to sacrifice the idea that this is a book. That's all. Once you sacrifice the idea... Anyone have a cell phone? Do you have one handy real quick? Thank you. Okay, watch this. I had this vision last night. You see this? If you had never seen this before, and I told you this plastic box could allow you to... It's not just a plastic box. This is actually a super duper 25th century communication device. It's not just a plastic box, because we're used to plastic boxes, right? Our jewelry comes in it, I don't know, our watches come in it, whatever it may be. This is not just a plastic box, this is a communication device. Well, if you'd never seen it or used it before, you'd be looking at me like, Chaim, that Kabbalah has made you a little crazy. So we have to sacrifice the idea this is a plastic box, because we understand there's technology inside that allows us to communicate with others. This looks like a what? A book. But we have to sacrifice the idea that it's just a book. It's also a communication device. Just as this has to receive a signal from the cell service from out there in the cosmos somewhere, this does receive. It's always on, it's never off. It's always receiving and channeling the infinite light of the Creator. That's why we made this one piece small, so you can keep in your pocket, you can keep in your purse. No, I'm not taking your phone, thank you. Okay, all right? But that's it. That's it. That's all it is. Sacrifice the idea of a book. Just understand it's a beacon of light of the Creator. And what can the Creator do for each and every one of us? Everything. Any trouble you're in, any difficulty you're in, anything you don't have a solution for, it's here. Just by keeping it around you and having that desire, it will start to awaken it. So I just want to tell you two quick stories. One is, a few weeks ago I did the thing with the pen. Right, taking the pen or not. Those of you who didn't see it, you have to go back and watch the video on my Facebook page, the Spiritual Sunday page. But a woman wrote me, and she says, just after she was watching that, she says, I'm watching with my 13-year-old son. She's watching about taking the pen that day. She says, I'm watching with my 13-year-old son who has been getting picked on in school. So why do you feel bad when you get picked on? Not physically, obviously, but name-calling or things like that. Why? Because take the pen. You accept the insult. So she says, I held out a pen and told him it was rude comments. He walked away. He got the message. So that's the power of what we're doing. Then one of the students who's studying online from Puerto Rico, she sends me this. The first year she was in the center, yes, she had her Zohar, this and this. Her father was diagnosed with cancer. Her mother, who and the parents were divorced, was an alcoholic. So she's coming in the center. She starts to learn like we're learning, how to take care of it, how to deal with it, etc. So she goes right into proactive sharing mode. She starts scanning the Zohar. She gives one of these little books to her father, right? He doesn't go through chemo. He did have surgery, she says, but then he keeps the book. She's scanning and sending him light from the healing. She says, without chemo, whatever, did the surgery, and now he's cancer-free. That was in her first year. Then she says, 2 years later, her mother came to visit Puerto Rico, lives in Orlando, came to Puerto Rico. She said, first thing she did, she let her mother come, because her mother's an alcoholic. Now she's learning, no, accept the challenge. Is the challenge going to be good or bad? Depends on you. So she decides it's going to be good. So she gives her mother also one of these, and she starts praying together. They start scanning together, etc. She says, she's writing me this just recently. She says, now her mother's sober over 4 years. Exactly. Okay. Just to give you an idea, and I keep asking for these stories because they're inspirational. You and I need to keep strengthening our certainty that this is not a book. That when we do the meditations on the Hebrew letters that you don't know, maybe most of you or whatever, they are power. They are the energy of the endless light. They're not just shapes, they're not just vision, it's not just in our mind we're making it up. No, it's real power. And this is it. This is what you're supporting. You're helping us to get it out there to millions and billions of people and change their lives in the same way as many of your lives have been changed. Why do you keep coming every week? Something's got to be changing. None of us are foolish enough to do things that aren't good all the time. At some point we'll wake up. So something is drawing you here. Something is changing the power of what we're doing here. So all we're asking you is to help us do that. Help us increase it. Reach out to billions of people, because we all want our kids, our grandkids, our friends, and our family to be blissed out, don't we? We want to take away the pain and suffering. And let's be honest, who out there is doing it? The police, the military, the diplomats, the politicians, the economists? Respectfully, but are they really going to bring lasting peace to the world? No. What do we say? Every affirmation. Consciousness is everything. One other thing, and I hope this is okay, and I'm sorry taking a little more time than usual, but I was thinking about it because it constantly weighs on me how we get ourselves caught up in the illusion. What do you think every person on earth looks for? Do you think any person on earth is looking for anything less than happiness? No. So why do people do bad things? They're looking for happiness. They're just looking in the wrong way. They're looking against the light of the Creator's pathway, but they think it's still going to bring them goodness. So I just want to throw out there, and I don't know why, but I was inspired and I have to share it with you. And again, whatever side you're on, I don't want to hear it. I just want to send you the message. Everybody on either side of anything, and the one that came to me because it's standing right in front of us all the time now, the gun issue. All right? And it's not a political statement. This is a spiritual statement. I don't care which side you're on. The key is, let's be spiritual about it. Because I don't care if you hate guns or you love guns. Do you think the people who want to have guns want their children, their families not to be protected, to be hurt? No. Do you think the people who want to get rid of the guns don't want their family to be protected and healthy, etc.? So they're both looking for the same thing, but they're fighting on the opposite sides. So who's winning? Not the light of the Creator. The opponent's winning. The darkness is winning, because I don't care which side you're on. You want best. You want your family to be happy, healthy, and joyous, etc. But now you're arguing with each other. So I don't care. You're two loving people on opposite side of a issue. So what? Be on the same. Okay, you have your perspective, I have my perspective, but to bring peace on earth, let's agree. Guns or not, Democrat, Republican, this, that, or the other, spread the light of the Zohar. Let the Creator guide every human being to the destiny of the endless world again. That's all we're asking. Help and support to make that happen. So if this has helped you in any way, shape, or form, please, yes, open up your heart, open up your soul, and frankly, open up your pocketbook and help us. Help us reach out and spread these all over the world. For those of you on Facebook, you can go on the Facebook page and you can donate, and we're going to do it here. So let's join together. Whatever your offering is, please hold it in your hands. We want to bless it, put as much energy in it as we can. One, to just have gratitude and appreciation for all that the Creator has given us, done for us, to allow us to have everything that we have, to be everything that we are. We're acknowledging right now we're just conduits, and we want to be the best conduit, the best steward, the best instrument of all the resources, all the abilities the Creator gave us to spread light for our benefit and simultaneously the benefit of every human being on earth by hooking them up to the GPS of the light of the Creator. We bless this offering. We put in our heart, our soul, the light that the Creator gave us, that it will go out and through the spread of the Zohar and Kabbalah will awaken the heart and soul of every human being on earth. That we will all speed up the arrival in our ultimate destination, heaven on earth, peace on earth, and goodwill towards all humanity. And we open our eyes and we say, Amen. All right, let's do our meditation. For those of you who are new, you see 3 Aramaic letters, Hebrew letters. They channel the light of the Creator. It's another sacrifice. They are not just letters. They shine the infinite light of the Creator. In this combination, right to left, the name of the letter, Resh, Aleph, Hey. They have unique shapes to channel unique energy. And as you see, find your way. That's it. Open up our spiritual eyes, connect to the spiritual GPS. So just take a vision. Let it be in your mind's eye. Resh, Aleph, Hey. The particular shapes. Now you know the names. Okay, if I can ask you to close your eyes. Sitting comfortably in the chair, feet flat on the floor, hands in the lap. Just begin taking a few deep breaths, breathing in through the nose. Hold the breath for a moment. Exhale through the mouth. Allow yourself to relax, to settle into feeling the embrace of the infinite light in you and all around you. Think of a particular situation that you need guidance, you need clarity, you need to find the solution that will bring blessings, not only for you, but for all the people in the situation. And now, keeping that situation in mind, envision the power, Resh, Aleph, Hey. Let those conduits bring to you an awakening of the light of the Creator in your soul. Resh, Aleph, Hey. Awakening, that spiritual GPS. The spiritual internet that has all the solutions. Resh, Aleph, Hey. Awakening the light in you. Now let it shine out from you into that situation that you need clarity and guidance, the solution. Shine it into the place, the people, everything that's involved. Resh, Aleph, Hey. Let the light shine bright and brighter, asking for clarity and guidance. And now let's see this light shining through your situation out to the entire world. That everybody is having an awakening of clarity and guidance only from the light of the Creator. Every human being. And now listen for a moment to the voice of the Creator with your answer. And as you receive that answer, commit to implement it. Stay focused on that goal of bringing bliss, light, through you, through them, to everybody. Begin already feeling the greater sense of peace, happiness, joy, as that situation is resolved. And let's also send that happiness and joy of resolution through the pathway we've set to every human being on earth. To allow the light of the Creator to be their resolution. Bringing the best for every human being. And together we hold this vision of peace and harmony. Taking one more deep breath to anchor it in and support us. And as you exhale, slowly opening your eyes.